Welcome to the demonstration for configuring journal archiving. This demonstration reinforces the concepts covered in Lesson 10 of the Enterprise Vault 10 for Exchange Administration course. In this demonstration, we will verify that Exchange journaling is functioning. Then we will set up and test the Enterprise Vault journal archiving. The sections included within this demonstration are confirming mail messages are being journaled, setting up journal archiving, and testing the journal archiving. In the first section of the demonstration, we will confirm that mail messages sent to and from users on Server 1 are being journaled via the existing Journal User 1 account on Server 1, and investigate how journaling functions in Microsoft Exchange. We're currently on Server number 1. We have the Exchange Management Console open. We have gone to the Organization Configuration under the Hub Transport section. We have clicked on the Journal Rules tab, and you can see that currently we only have one journal rule. We're going to open up the properties of this journal rule. So we'll click on the journal rule and select our properties. And you can see that this particular journal rule is set up to send reports to Journal User 1 at example.com. That's our journal mailbox. And this particular one is global in scope, so all messages will be sent to this particular journal user. So we can go ahead and cancel out of this. This is just to look at the rules that are set up on the Exchange server for journaling. Now we'll switch over to the Enterprise Vault server, which is Server 2, and we've created a profile in Outlook for the Journal User 1 account. And what we're going to do is going to open up the mailbox for the journal user account here on Server 2, the Enterprise Vault server. So I can click Start. I will select my All Programs. And then we can expand Microsoft Office. And here on the Enterprise Vault server, we are using Microsoft Office Outlook 2007. So we'll open that up. And we'll change our profile from the default Outlook profile to the Journal User 1 profile. And again, this was created earlier to point to the Journal User 1's mailbox. So I can go ahead and click OK. Specify the username and password for the Journal User 1 account. Click OK again. And the dialog box opens up showing the Outlook environment for the journal mailbox. And you can see that all the messages are here in the mailbox. And if we open up one of the messages just to see a little bit more detail, you can see that what's actually being sent to the journal mailbox is a copy of the message itself as an attachment, then the metadata associated with the particular message, the sender, the subject, the message ID, and who it was to. This is the journal report. We're going to be looking later on to determine what are we archiving. Are we archiving the journal report, or are we actually archiving the original message? And we'll see how that works out later in the demonstration. So I'll go ahead and close this message. I'll go ahead and close Outlook. And now we have switched over to the client machine. And on the client machine, we are currently logged in as G. Smith. And we're going to send a message to several different people and groups so that we can show how that's going to show up in the journal mailbox. So we'll go ahead and select our new email message. For our 2, we're going to send it to Shiva Kumar, which is a user and is inside of our Exchange organization. We're going to send it to the department heads, which is a security group that's been enabled for mail within our organization, and then to a particular user who's not in our organization, which is john.smith@acme.com. We also want to be able to look at and see whether or not we can do blind carbon copies, and if the information associated with a blind carbon copy will actually be archived. So I'm going to click my To button here. Then I'm going to scroll down to find Phil Earhart. And then I'm going to add Phil Earhart as a blind carbon copy. And then I can go ahead and click OK here. And you can see that Phil Earhart is listed as a blind carbon copy. We'll go ahead and add a subject to our message. We'll go ahead and add a body to the message. And then we can go ahead and send that message. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go back to the Enterprise Vault server on server 2. And you can see that we've already got Outlook open again on server 2. And we're going to wait for that message that we just sent to come in. And now we have that message that we had just sent. So I'll go ahead and click on the message that was just sent. And again, you can see that it has taken our message and added it as an attachment to the journal report. It's taken our sender information, the subject, and a message ID, and then it's actually sent the individual users for S. Kumar and John Smith at Acme, and it has expanded out the department heads group to show you all the people in the department heads. Now also you'll notice down here at the bottom it does show the blind carbon copy field as being Phil Earhart. So we'll go through and look at later on how we can find that information once it has been archived through the journal archiving. So I'll go ahead and close Outlook again. And now I want to set up journal archiving on the Enterprise Vault server. So in this section of the demonstration, we will set up the journal archiving so that all messages sent to the Journal User 1 mailbox are archived to a single journal archive stored in the Corporate Compliance Vault Store. And in the earlier demonstrations, we had created the Corporate Compliance Vault Store, knowing that we were ultimately going to be sending our journal archives to that Vault Store. So I'll go ahead and open up the Enterprise Vault Administration Console. Once the Enterprise Vault Administration Console is open, the first thing that I want to do is create the journal archive. So I'll go ahead and expand my archives, and then I'll go ahead and select the Exchange Journal. And then what we want to do is create a new Exchange Journal archive. As you can see, there's not one created by default. So I click on my Exchange Journal, select the new, and then I can select Archive. And this will start the new Journal Archive wizard. So we can go ahead and click Next to move to the next dialog box. And now it asks us which Vault store that we want to archive this particular archive to. And again, we specifically created the Corporate Compliance Vault Store for that purpose. So we'll leave that selected and go ahead and click Next. We then need to enter a name for our archive. So we'll just call it Journal Archive. And we will go ahead and enter a description. Once we've got that information, we can go ahead and click Next. And the next thing it asks is about the indexing level. And we could use the site level. But since this is a journal archive and it's probably going to be used for compliance accelerator or discovery accelerator searches, we want to make sure that it's always set to full. So we'll remove the check mark for use site settings, and you can see that it has gone to full. So this will give us the capability of not only indexing the metadata, but also all the content of the archived items. And this will be good when we're doing searches, especially for our compliance needs and our electronic discovery needs. We'll just go ahead and build the usage to our power user account, which is in Kapoor. So I'll put that in under build usage to. Then we can go ahead and click Next. And again, we can review our summary to make sure we've got all the correct settings that we desire. Then we go ahead and click Finish. And it comes back and tells us that the new archive was created and is now enabled for use. So I can go ahead and click Close. We're going to be setting up permissions on the journal archive. So I'll open up the properties of the journal archive. Once the properties dialog box opens up, we'll go ahead and go to the permissions tab. And we're going to be setting up permissions for the Enterprise Vault service account, for the Journal 1 user account, and also in Kapoor, our power user. So I'll go ahead and click Add. And then I'll scroll down to find the Enterprise Vault service account, which is EV_service. Go ahead and click Add. Then we'll scroll down and look for the Journal User 1 account, and then add that. And then we'll scroll down to find in Kapoor, and add in Kapoor. Then we can go ahead and click OK. Now for the permissions for the service account and our power user account, they need to have read permissions, and the journal user account needs to have read write. So you can see that the EV service account, EV_service, already has read permission granted. So we'll come up and select our journal user account, and you can see by default it only has read, but the journal user also needs to be able to write, so we'll add the write permission. And then we'll come up and select our in-Kapoor power user account. And again, that user's already got the read permission, so I can go ahead and click OK. And now we're ready to create the journal task. So I'll come up and expand my Enterprise Vault servers. And then I expand the server itself. And then I've selected the tasks, and I want to create a new task. So I can right click on that, select new, and then we're going to be looking for an Exchange journaling task. So I'll go ahead and select my Exchange journaling task. Once the new Exchange journal task wizard starts up, I'll go ahead and click the next button. And again, all the Exchange servers that we have are server 1, so therefore that's the Exchange server we want this task for. So I'll go ahead and click next. I'm happy with the default name, so I'll go ahead and just click next. Now I do have to specify the journal mailbox. So I'll go ahead and click my Browse button here, and we'll scroll down to find Journal User 1. Once I've selected Journal User 1, I can then go ahead and click OK. And now we're ready to click Next again. And now we're up to our summary. Make sure all of our settings and configuration are what we want, and then we can go ahead and click Finish. And it says that our new task has been successfully created and is ready for use. And we do want to go ahead and start the task immediately, so we'll go ahead and place a check mark there for Start the New Task Now. And then we'll click our Close button. And you can see that the Exchange journaling task for Server 1 has been added to our list of tasks, and that particular status is running. Now, we want to go and look at the policy associated with this journaling task. So we'll come up to our Policies section and expand that. This is an Exchange journaling task, so we'll expand our Exchange option. We'll select our journaling, and once we've selected the journaling, you can see that there is a default Exchange journaling policy available. And now I can go ahead and open the properties of the default Exchange journal policy. I click Properties. And on the General tab, you can see it has a name and description. I'll go ahead and click the Advanced tab. You can see that I have under my Archiving General a list of different settings that are available for me to configure. Now again, to get more help about these individual settings and what the different values will do for you, you can use the Enterprise Vault Help System. For now, we'll just go ahead and leave all the defaults, and then we'll go and see what targets we have. When we click the targets, we notice that there are none available. So that means we have to go and create a journal target. So we'll go ahead and cancel out of this, and then we'll come up under our site and expand our targets. This is an Exchange target, so I expand that. And then we have our domain example.com under Exchange, so I can expand that. And then I have my Exchange servers. And our Exchange server is Server 1, so once I expand Server 1, I will then have the option to choose Journal Mailbox. Again, you can see by default that there's no Journal Mailbox created by default. So just go ahead and right click on that and select New, and then we'll select Journal Mailbox. And then we want to browse and select our Journal User 1 account. So I click my Browse button, scroll down, select my Journal User 1, click OK, and now it's in the list. And you can see which mailbox that particular one is being associated to, which task. So it is being associated with Exchange journaling task for Server 1. And we do have it set up to initially enable archiving of the mailbox. So we go ahead and click Next. And you can set the different values for the target if you wish, as far as what the journaling policy is being applied, and we only have the one, the default, so we'll leave that there. And then you also have the retention category. Now, we did create some additional retention categories in an earlier demonstration, but for now we'll just go ahead and leave the default retention category here. So we'll go ahead and click Next. And we are sending it to the Corporate Compliance Vault Store, but under the Corporate Compliance Vault Store, we have to select the Journal Archive, because it's asking us which archive we wish to use. And then we can go ahead and click Next. Now, once we've clicked the Next and it's gone to the summary, here's the summary of all the different settings we've selected. So I can go ahead and click Finish. And it says that the journal mailbox has been successfully added and is ready for archiving. So I'll go ahead and close this. And I'll go back and check my policy to make sure that the journal mailbox has been added as a target. So I'll select my journaling under Exchange, open up the properties of the Exchange, default Exchange journaling policy. And once that opens, we'll go to the Targets tab. And you can see that now we have Journal User 1 has been added as a target. So I can go ahead and cancel out of this. And we'll go ahead and close our Enterprise Vault Administration Console. And we'll go ahead and save that. Now, the next thing that we want to do in this section of the demonstration is we will test whether the journal archiving is working properly by searching the journal archive for archived messages and opening the Journal 1 user mailbox and examining its contents. So here on the Enterprise Vault server, server 2, we'll open up Outlook. I'll click Start, and we'll select our Microsoft Office Outlook 2007. And we need to change the profile to Journal User 1. And then we go ahead and click OK. We specify the password for our Journal User account. Click OK again. And you can see now that the items that are in the Journal User's mailbox are pending archive. So earlier they were the actual journal reports. Now they're pending archive. And again, we've time compressed this for the demonstration. So you can see that the number has gone from 277 to 99. And now all the items have been archived. So go ahead and close Outlook. And we're going to open up the Vault Administration Console again. And we're going to search the journal archive. So we'll come back down to the archives, select our Exchange journal under archives, and then we'll come up and right click on Journal Archive and select Search Archive. And we'll not specify any criteria. We'll just go ahead and click our Find Now button. And you can see that it's found 391 items in our journal. And we can go ahead and open up one of the messages. And as far as for opening the message, the Outlook profile is fine. So I can go ahead and click OK. And you can see what actually is archived and indexed so that we can search it and retrieve that information is the original message itself. So we don't have the journal report being returned to users when they're searching for the messages. They see the original message that is in the journal. So I can go ahead and close the message. And we'll go ahead and get out of the search just by clicking Exchange Mailbox under Archives. And then we're going to go ahead and open up the Outlook again as Journal User 1. So I click my Start, select the Office Outlook. Again, we have to change our profile this time to Journal User 1. And then we'll click OK. And we're just going to be testing the journaling account again, journal archiving, by sending a message. So that's why I'm opening up Outlook as the Journal User 1. I go ahead and specify my password, click OK. And you can see that there's nothing currently inside of the Outlook environment. So what we're going to do is we're going to switch over to the client. And here we are in the client as Graham Smith or gsmith@example.com. And what we're going to do is we're going to forward a message. So I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to select this message, Sarah James Forms. And I'm going to forward that, or correction, reply to that. So I'll go ahead and click my Home tab on my Office ribbon. And then I will select my Reply All. And then I'll put in a message here for testing journal archiving. Click my Send button. And now we switched back over to Server 2, where we had the inbox. And you can see that the message has appeared in the Journal User 1's mailbox and is pending archiving. So we want to go ahead and wait for this to finish and be archived. And again, when we set up the mailbox policy for the journaling, we said that we want, or correction, when we set up the vault store for the compliance, corporate compliance vault store, we set it up to remove the safety copy immediately. So once it gets archived, it immediately removes the safety copy. So now we can go ahead and close Outlook. And we'll go ahead and close the Vault Administration console. And this time we're going to search the Journal Archive using the Enterprise Vault search feature. So we're going to open Internet Explorer by going down to Start. And then we'll select Internet Explorer. And we'll type in the address for our search, which is http:// our Enterprise Vault server, which is Server 2, then our Enterprise Vault virtual directory, and then the active server page is search.asp. And because we want the advanced features associated with the search page, we'll add the question mark advanced, and then I can go ahead and connect. Now I want to change the vault from Diana Palmer's vault to the Journal Archive. So I'll go ahead and open up the Vault drop-down, select the Journal Archive, and then for my subject, I'm going to change this from contains any of to is exactly phrase. And that message that we replied all to had in the subject line, reply : forms. So now I can just scroll down and click my search. And there's the reply all version of the reply forms that we sent out today on July 4th. And then we have additional versions of that same form. So that has all been found. And now we want to go and prove that the blind carbon copy has been or is searchable. So we'll click our search button to go back to the search. We'll change our subject back to contains any of. We'll delete the criteria out of the subject field. We'll come down under recipient and change it from any field to the blind carbon copy field. And then we'll leave the comparator to contains any of. And we'll add in the Phil Earhart at example.com. It's actually P. Earhart at example.com. And then we can scroll down again, click our search button, and it shows you that it can in fact search based upon fields that include the blind carbon copy. So it seems like our journal archiving is working correctly. We can search it, it's being indexed, and it's available for us to use with both Compliance Accelerator, Discovery Accelerator, or just the regular search functionality in Enterprise Vault. So we'll go ahead and close our Internet Explorer. And one other way that we can test the journaling capability is to open a report called the usage report. So I'm going to open up Enterprise Vault, I'm going to open up Internet Explorer as the Vault Service account to allow us to look at that report. So I'll click my Start button, and then we'll do a right click on Internet Explorer and select Run as a different user. And then we'll type in the Enterprise Vault Service account, which is example /EV_service. Type in the password, and we can click OK, and Internet Explorer starts up. And to see the usage report, we'll type in the URL for the usage report, which is http:// the Enterprise Vault server, which is server 2, the Enterprise Vault virtual directory, and then usage.asp. Then I go ahead and hit enter, and you can see that it opens up the Vault Store usage reporter, and it starts off showing you at the Vault Store level. So here I have corporate compliance and information management, and what we would be looking at would be the total items that are available and the size. And if the journaling is working, this should always be going up as more and more messages are being received. But I can drill down to look at that archive. I click on the corporate compliance, and you can see I go down to the billing account, which we again assign the power user, Nita Kapoor, as the billing account to our journal archive. And then we can view the usage report based upon the archive name. And the archive name is the journal archive. And again, we would be looking at the total items and total size, seeing that this is going up to let me know that the items are in fact being journaled. We go ahead and close Internet Explorer there. And this brings us to the end of this demonstration.